Just a second.
All right.
Yeah, we are, we're good.
All right, we're back in session, and we're here to talk to our Public Information Officer. First part of this, we'll talk a little bit about budget. John's going to share with you some thoughts from the commissioners. Then we'll invite you to give us some of your thoughts about your budget, and then we'll go into executive session and do an evaluation.
Perfect.
All right?
So let me start off by saying we're giving the same spiel to everybody that comes in here, whether you've got 50 people in the department or one person in the department. So some of this may be more applicable than other things. But what we are telling everybody is that we want to keep the budget flat overall this year. So if you think there are certain areas in your certain line items that need to be increased, we want you to find other places within your department where you might be able to cut back to find those funds. And we also want everybody to take a look at the processes that they're involved with, make sure things are being done as efficiently as possible. There might be ability to do some cost savings if you change your processes up. We want people to look at opportunities for grant funding. I don't know how that would apply, but you never know. I mean, there are people giving away money for all kinds of things, so you never know what you might be able to find out there. And if you come across something that seems to be applicable for something you're involved with, just be aware of it. We're looking at the training. What we're hoping to do here is to find alternatives to going out and find an expensive class to take where you're having to travel, that type of thing. You might be able to do some online training. In some departments, they're able to train, the individuals in the departments are able to get to a level where they actually are training other people. In your case, I think there's probably would make sense to have some training done by you of department heads into how to deal with the press and things of that nature. So that might be something to think about. And finally, we're looking at succession planning. We want all the department heads to take a look at what would happen if you couldn't come to work anymore tomorrow. How would your department run? So we need you to kind of think about, well, what could I do to ensure that if I weren't able to come to work, the department would continue to run, who would do what, and so on. Okay?
Any comments about that, or just talk about your budget?
Well, to the point about succession preparation, one of the things that I've started to do this year, and it's been slow going, I've been trying to, write down my processes and my contacts and everything for all the different things that I do. So I have a little binder. I've probably only gotten like between 5 to 10% done of what I work on. So it's still an ongoing process, but I am starting to do that because I know that it would be probably difficult for Braden and Christy to figure things out if I was in a car accident or something.
And then along that line, I mean, the interns and stuff that you're bringing in and trying to help them, plus teach them the methods and stuff. But, and then working with the individuals in it's not succession, but it's kind of dual training as you work with seems like the most comes with the sheriff's office or so.
Sure, yeah. The other point of, was it training? That was something that I actually have planned for this year at some point. I haven't gotten into super close details, but I would like to do a media training for department heads and elected officials at some point this year. So, as far as keeping the budget flat, I have a very small budget, so I went through and did line by line, even though that was a little too detailed for what we're doing here. But at this point, I don't expect any major increases to my budget. I have a $500 decrease to my office supplies because I realized that we had budgeted twice for our Adobe subscription. So we have 2 licenses to our Adobe suite, and one of them is paid out of my budget. The other one, which I believe Braden and Jeff share, is paid out of the commissioner's budget. So that dropped my office supplies budget. And then I kept a little bit of a cushion there though as well, because this past year I've had a couple of those subscriptions that I use increase their prices, and so I want to be prepared for that, to have a little wiggle room there, and as well as some random office supplies like card readers or SD cards and small things like that. So that was the only, and then a small increase from $480 to $580 for my telephone. We started using my hotspot this year so that I can access the internet when I'm at the elections office, or when I'm out and about at your community meetings, or if there's an emergency and I need to work remote and I don't have Wi-Fi. So that increased my monthly cost for telephone about $5. So went from $480 to $580. Other than that, my budget will remain relatively the same. I don't have any other changes that I expect at this point. So that's where I'm at there.
Comments? Budget-wise?
Nope.
All right, I'd ask for a motion. to end
Mr. Chair, I
executive
make a motion that we enter executive session under Idaho Code 74-2061, Prim A and B.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Moser,
session. Yes.
Commissioner Crowder.
Yes.
And if you want to shut everything down, I'll just